Here's a very useful use case for most people. At some point, you're going to buy a home. So it's important to know how much that home is really going to cost you. Can you afford it? And I've bought a few homes in my life. Every time I've been thinking about buying a home, I've created a spreadsheet like this, and it's been useful to figure out what you're actually going to pay. So there's always going to be a few assumptions in the model. The home value, so that's determined by the market. You're going for a home, you can buy more expensive homes, you can buy cheaper homes. Let's just assume you've got your eye on a home that costs $240,000. In Marquette, Michigan, that's going to buy you a very decent house. In the Bay Area, that's probably a parking space with a shack on top of it. So the mortgage interest, that's determined by the market. You have very little control over that. Most people go for a 30-year loan. You can choose a 15-year loan and get a little bit better interest rate. Most people do go for a 30-year loan, so that's the assumption that we're going to build into this model. Now, the property tax rate, property taxes can kill you. And so it's important to know what you're going to pay in property tax. So this is going to be determined by the government wherever you are. Now, the rest of these cells we're going to fill in using formulas so that we can manipulate some of these variables. Okay, so let's see. We're going to assume that the homeowner's insurance per year is 0.75% of the home value. So I'm going to say equals the home value times 0.01 would be 1%. So this is less than 1%. So it's going to be 0.0075. So I'm going to pay about $1,800 per year for homeowners insurance. Totally depends where you live. If you live in a place where there's lots of natural disasters, if you live on the Gulf Coast of Florida, that might be higher. Could be lower if you live somewhere else. Totally depends. But that's a decent value to use doing this calculation. Okay, property taxes per year. Multiply the home value by the interest rate, then divide by 2. Okay, so notice the typo. This should not be interest rate. It should be by the tax rate. So I'm going to fix that. So we're going to say equals the home value times the tax rate and divide it by 2. That's just the way Michigan does it for whatever reason. I don't know. That's just what Michigan does. Every state's going to be different. Local tax methods might be a little bit different. Okay, so the down payment. How much do we want to pay initially? Typically, you want to pay 20% down. If you can put 20% down, you don't have to pay for mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is going to be another $150 a month. We don't want to do that, so we want to put 20% down. So my down payment is going to be the home value times 0.2 for 20%. So we got to come up with $48,000 cash somehow. So the loan amount is just going to be the balance, the home value minus that down payment. Loan amount. So I need $192,000 from the bank. So what is my payment going to be just for that loan? So I'm going to use the payment function here. So the rate, it's going to be my interest rate. It's going to be the interest rate, but we're going to be paying this off by month, and also interest is going to be charged by month. So I'm going to divide that by 12. The number of periods will be the loan length in years times 12. The present value is going to be the value of the loan. And now I want this output to be a positive number, so I'm going to put this present value as a negative number. So I'm going to say -1 times the loan amount. It doesn't really matter if it's negative or positive. This just makes sense to my brain. So my payment just to the bank for the loan is going to be $1,151 per month. Okay, so what's my monthly insurance payment? Often you'll just write one check for the mortgage, insurance, and tax using escrow services. That's very common, but you can pay it all separately. We'll calculate it separately at least. My insurance payment is going to be the annual insurance divided by 12, and we're going to find the average tax per month. So that's going to be equals property taxes divided by 12. And so our total monthly payment is just going to be the sum of the monthly mortgage payment, monthly insurance payment, and monthly tax payment. Okay, so all of a sudden, that adds up a lot. Property taxes can really bite you if you're not looking out for them. When thinking about how much a home is going to cost you, you have to figure out how much you're going to pay in taxes and how much you're going to be paying in insurance, because that can dramatically increase your total monthly payment. Okay, so as a bonus, there are a couple of extra financial functions that are going to tell you how much interest you're paying off every month versus principal. So the IPMT and PPMT functions are helpful here. So let's take a look. So if we say IPMT, returns the interest payment. Okay, so this is going to be very similar as before, except we've got an extra period here. So the rate is going to be at 6% divided by 12. The period, this is just for which payment. So I'm going to have to write 360 checks, you could say, because I'm going to have this loan for 360 months. I want the first month. The number of periods is going to be 30 times 12, and the present value is going to be, and I'm going to make this a negative number here, -1 times the loan amount. I pay off a whopping $6. Ouch. Okay, I just noticed I have an error in my formula. I need to fix that. I was multiplying not the present value of the loan amount. I was multiplying the value of the first month's payment. I need to change this B11 to B10. Okay, that makes more sense. So what this value is saying is that the first month, out of that $1,151, $960 of that is interest. That's basically profit going to the bank. That makes the bank very happy. I'm going to copy and paste this so I don't make that error again. If I paste this, it's going to give me the exact same value. But I can change this to the PPMT function. It takes the exact same arguments. $191. If I select these two values, I can see that the sum is 1,151 down here. So that equals my payment. So what this means is that in the first month, I'm paying a whole lot of interest to the bank, and I'm only paying down my principal, $191. So in the very first part of a loan, banks make most of their money. So we used functions throughout here and cell references to do these calculations. Now we can change this. Let's say $240,000 is just out of my budget. Now I can start playing around once I have the spreadsheet created. What if I find a house that's good for me and my family for $180,000? All of a sudden my payment goes down from $1,700 to $1,291. I'm saving about $500 a month. $500 a month, if you put that in the stock market and you invest it, you know, after 35 years, you've got an extra $1 million. So homes, be very hesitant treating a home as an investment because you never know what the real estate market is going to do long term. We can play with a bunch of other numbers too. Let's say I want to put a bigger down payment instead of just 36,000. I could change this. What if I wanted to put 30% down? Okay, my down payment goes down, and I'm going to be paying a lot less interest over the life of the loan. So you can play with this spreadsheet as much as you want. I'm going to undo those last couple of changes. But it's important when you're going into a big purchase decision, make sure to run these numbers to make sure that you understand what you're paying for. I've heard a lot of stories from people who are either buying a house or selling a house, and they're surprised when all is said and done at the costs and the fees, and they thought they were going to get more money, or they were surprised that they were going to have to pay so much money in property taxes and other fees, and they get into sticky situations. So do your own analysis. The financial functions in Excel can help you quite a bit.